Welcome 8th grade students to Tuesday, April 21st. If you're watching this on the day it's assigned, hope you've had a wonderful Monday, wonderful weekend. Hope volume is something you're dreaming about and enjoying. Volumes of cylinders. Yes, we have these mathematical representation of cylinders, but you can consider cylinders in your life. Cups, mugs, and other places where you'll find cylinders. If you ever work on auto mechanics, cylinders are important. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this work on cylinders. As always, you can pause or repeat and skip ahead is needed in this video. Also, you can use the closed captioning if you'd like in English. It's also available there in Spanish. I'm Mr. Larson, one of the 8th grade math teachers, and we'll be working through some of these problems today. If, with this volume, if Friday and Monday's work made sense to you, then today you're going to be able to fly right through. If it's still kind of not making sense, this is going to be a good review day for you. We'll be able to do some work here, but we'll hopefully help it sink in and make sense. Today, we're going to be finding the height that's involved in a cylinder when all the other variables are known. So if you remember the equation, the volume equals the pi r squared times the height. Today, you're going to know these other bits of information, but not the height, and so your work is going to be to find the height. So this relationship of volume is these items multiplied together. You'll be moving around items in this equation to get h by itself, to get the height by itself. One way to think of this is, see this pi r squared, see that area of the circle? To find a volume, all you're doing is you're finding the area, this pi r squared, you're finding this area of this circle, and then you're just finding how high it is, how many heights there are multiplied onto it. This one, the height's already given to you. Let's see, if I turn this page sideways, see if this makes sense. This circle, there's the circle, pi r squared. We're just trying to figure out how many circles are stacked on top of each other. That's the work of today. That's the work we'll be doing today, and because, as you saw, not all of these problems on page 75 through 78, 4 pages, they don't all have height issues, we'll call it. We're just going to be working on 1, 2, 3. We may not do 8, 10, and 11, but we'll do a number of these to have it hopefully make sense so you can do well on the quiz today. So here we go. Number 1. We know that volume is pi r squared times the height. So the volume is pi r squared times the height. Now, once we know that, we can insert these numbers into the variables and solve for the height. The volume is given to us, 2,513.27 miles cubed. Huge number of miles. The radius right here is 10 miles. Man, what cylinder would be 10 miles as a radius? So pi times the 10 squared height. And then we work through the equation to get the h by itself. 2513.27 is pi times, you can insert 10 squared into your calculator. 10 squared, which is 100, height. And then to get the height by itself, we divide off the pi 100, the pi times 100, and divide that off both sides of the equation. So that pi divided by pi is 1, 100 divided by 100 is 1, and all that's left is 1h. In laziness, we don't like the 8, the 1. So we just have to figure out what 25.13.27 divided by 100 pi is, or pi 100. So let's see, here we go. There's the pi button right there we'll be using. 2513.12, no, 0.27 divided by, and you want to make sure that when you divide by the 100 pi, or the pi hundredths. I'm going to use parentheses, pi times 100. And we get 7 point, a whole bunch of nines. The instructions in the Canvas module say, no matter what the instructions say, we're rounding to the 10th. So round this to the 10th, look to the next one. All that means we bump it up. The height is 8. We got it. In entering this in the calculator, let me just make sure that it makes sense what we're doing here. You're dividing by all of those items. And multiplication is commutative. You can move those two things around. So 2513.27 divided by, look at that, divided by 100 pi's. Because when it's sitting next to it, that means multiplication. There's another way to write it equivalently because we get the same answer. But here's a way not to write it. 2513.27 divided by 100 pi. Don't write it that way because the calculator is going to take this number, divide it by 100, and then take all of that and then times that by pi, and you're going to get a completely different answer. So the parentheses, you need to make sure the calculator understands that pi is in the denominator on each of these problems. And if you do that, you'll get them all right. For example, number 2, exact same concept as number 1. Volume is pi r squared times the height. So 56.55 is pi times the radius squared height. And so 56.55 pi is, or 55 is pi times 9 times height. Or as you'll see it written in high school a lot, 9 pi h. Math is commutative. You can write them in the opposite order. And then just divide 9 pi off of h, so that goes to 1. And divide that by 9 pi. Did I say divide by 9 pi h? Sorry if I said divide by 9 pi h. We're just dividing by 9 pi. Whatever 56.55 divided by 9 pi is, gives us our answer. So 56.55 divided by, be careful, make sure that the pi is part of the denominator. Use the answer is 2. The height is 2 when you round to the nearest tenth. 3, there's an attempt to confuse you here because volume, of course, is pi r squared h. This is going to be burned into your brain by the time you're done. So the 25.13 is pi times the radius. Be careful. The radius here, that's the diameter. 4 is the diameter. The radius is half of that. So the radius off the side here would be just 2. So it's 2 squared times the height. So 2513 is pi 4h. Divide pi 4 off of both sides. On this side, you're left with just 1h. Whoa, I can write that. Hi, how you doing? That's an h. And then 25.13 divided by pi 4. Pi times 4. 25.13 divided by pi 4. 1 point, bunch of 9s, rounded off, is 2. Oh, I'm the number 2. A bunch of words and some legs, and an eye, and I'm using my mouth with some teeth. Anyway, moving on. 8, 10, and 11 are the other 3 to work on. And as I look at these, they're the same problems I did before. So I'll write out the equation, but then you can work them through. Maybe I'll race through them. We'll see. We'll see how much time we got. What are we at? 8.5 minutes. You can work through these or skip to the answer if you'd like. Volume is pi r squared h. So the 402.12 is pi times, be careful on the radius. It's not 8. The radius is not 8. The radius is 4 squared h. So 402.12 is 16 pi h. I just squared it and changed the order so it looks like you'll see it in high school. And then divide the 16 pi off to get the answer in the answer key. Same thing on 10. 2,290.22 is the volume equals pi r, which is not 18. R squared, that's 9 squared h, which gives us 2,290.22 is 81 pi h. Divide off the 81 pi. I would love to have 81 pies. I can. Blueberry, strawberry, wonderful. 2290.22 divided by 81 pies. Yum. When's Pi Day? Okay, 8 point, a whole bunch of nines, which rounds to the nearest 10th to 9. So the height is 9. We could go through the same process on 11, but at this point, we're past 10 minutes. You know what you're doing. You know this is just volume equals pi r squared h. So 197.92 is pi r squared h, and then just divide both sides by 9 pi to get the answer in the answer key. I'm taking too much time. Hope you're enjoying. I hope you eat some blueberry or raspberry or maybe some chocolate pie today. Hope you enjoy this day. Tomorrow's work is going to be much the same as this, so we get good practice, understand this concept well, and we'll try to find a different variable tomorrow. How about that? Enjoy the day today. Bye-bye.